course, still watching the Predator Alliance League 2020 Summer, powered by Globe Telecom, Twitch student, and presented by Globe Prepaid's Virtual Hangouts, which I hope you guys had a lot of fun with earlier before the Hearthstone stream. We are shoutcasters for today. For League of Legends, I'm Hyron. With me is Uwomi.
Yeah, and speaking of virtual hangouts, I had fun earlier. Napanood natin yung La Luna kanina before we started the Hearthstone matches for today. I just have to say that hindi ako masyado nakikinig ng mga random like songs in Spotify. Usually just stick with one playlist. And I was glad na I was in this stream early. I was watching it and I discovered na, this band's pretty good. It's has a chilly vibe and saktong-sakto sa chilly weather natin right now. A lot of thunderstorms around the south area and big on rain as well. But sana hindi siya makahadlang sa ating broadcast tonight at sana nag-iingat din lahat ng mga players natin ngayon because they have a big match to play right now as Oblation Esports is already 2-0 looking to find their undefeated streak in this game. But for Warlocks, they would want to take their first win in Alliance League.
This is only their second game coming into Group A, and it didn't look too hot in their previous game here. But let's see if they can get some redemption going on here, because they still have the three other games here, including this one against UPD, to really get their standings up. But Bard and Graves will be banned here against UPD. Levi, we know him to play a lot of high-impact junglers like Volibear and Kha'Zix, and of course Bard always banned here against Alto, and that's no surprise here. Volibear and Ashe will be banned away against the Warlocks.
Yeah, and I'm liking the ban so far for Warlocks. It's quite obvious that they've been researching around Oblation Esports playstyle, and that's one step towards securing their first victory, making sure that they know how their opponent plays. And for Warlocks right now, they do ban out that Kha'Zix as their final ban against Levi. But for Oblation Esports, it's no question that they're quite oriented around the game, both macro and micro-wise. Thus, securing that 2-0 in Alliance League, it has a lot to say about how they are as an organization, as a team as well. But for Warlocks, I'm quite sure that their built organization is already backing this up as well. So Warlocks versus UPD Oblation Esports right now, I'm really excited to see and how this draft will pan out.
Italy banned here against Takeshima, and we haven't seen a lot of Takeshima. Last game that he played in Alliance League, or rather the first game, he played the Sejuani, which is a very high impact here, but then Italy is banned. Very, very popular in 1.16. We've seen a lot of teams across many international leagues like LPL, LCK, LEC, play it a lot. And seeing that Takeshima does play it, could mean a lot for this group in the future. But Lux instant pickup here for Warlocks on blue side. That's weird.
It is weird. Actually, we did see a Lux ban last game as well, and right now we are seeing a Lux priority pick for the Warlocks. So I've been seeing a lot of Lux games as well in my time playing League, so not quite sure. It's a very surprising pick to see, especially prioritized pa like this one. But for Oblation Esports, in response of that Lux, they do secure that Olaf, and it's gonna be huge. It's hard to dodge this Olaf, especially if he's running at you Ragnarok on. There's no snares, no anything that will stop this Olaf from trying to get into you.
Yeah, very, very popular jungler coming into this patch as well, and good on UPD to pick it up. As for the Warlocks, picking up the Akali, still quite strong, but the Sona here, if they do lock this in, that's going to be coming for a very squishy comp so far from the Warlocks, but Maokai Krindle did show quite a proficient Maokai in their previous game, and this is looking to be solid, beefy for Oblation Esports. Very comfortable here for their AD carry, Yobu.
Yes, second banning phase in this game already, and we are already seeing maybe a solo lane. Actually, for sure, this is going to be a solo lane Akali, but for the Lux, tingnan natin, this might be flexed in another role, maybe with the Sona. I mean, we have seen a lot of double mages around the past metas. Maybe it's the return of it, maybe it's mid lane. Let's just wait. But for now, nabanggit mo na nga yung Maokai coming in from Crandall, and Maokai against this composition, against an Akali, against a Lux and a Sona. think one of the best picks that you can have in this game right now. Kulang na lang may Casa din ka pa eh.
And this is gonna get shaped by the rest of the bans though. But Morgana again banned away from Alto, very popular ban against many teams that have very active supports here. Sejuani, of course, banned away from Takeshima. They know, okay, Oblation Esports knows that the biggest threat here is the pressure that Takeshima can put out. They're dedicating at least 3 bans here, 4 bans counting this Hecarim. And that is a lot of respect here for Takeshima. And that's going to be a challenge for his champion pool.
Yeah, and Jarvan's still open. It's impossible that you don't have Jarvan in your champion pool, especially if you're playing jungler role, because Jarvan, one of the easiest and most effective junglers in the game right now, and one of the best ways to keep Olaf away as well, because even if you can't CC Olaf during Ragnarok, you could trap him inside the Cataclysm. Just wait it out, and I think it's gonna be one of the best jungle picks that you could have. Or maybe it's Oblation Esports baiting out that Jarvan, knowing that the Jarvan will be picked. But let's see on what Warlocks would pick for their jungle role. But for now, it's gonna be a Karma lock-in for the side of Oblation Esports. I think this will be going to the hands of Alto on the support role. Again, Marco, Karma nerfs, a lot of Karma nerfs from the last patch.
Yeah, and quite unfortunate, but we still see it being very, very popular in a lot of pro leagues, and I'm not surprised that a lot of the teams in Alliance League are picking it up as well. Even mid Karma has been played with a lot of frequency, with a decent amount of frequency. But we're gonna have to see if this is going for Alto. I'm not quite sure if I see Solace playing this Karma mid as well, but Warlocks, whoo, look at that. Do they lock in the Riven here? I mean, the Trundle is just generally good, but this is a very risky comp coming in from the Warlocks.
Ito lang yung sinasabi ko sa'yo, Marco, that this Lux is a flex pick. It will go to the bottom lane with this Sona, and the Riven in the top lane. And I just have to say that this Trundle pick is a great counter for the Olaf as well, because this Trundle pick will not exactly stop the Olaf, but make sure that he will die during Ragnarok. If this Olaf pulls out the Ragnarok and then Skull just subjugates this Olaf, it's gonna be hard for this Olaf to survive on itself. Bago pa siya makalapit, baka tunaw na siya.
Yeah, that's the thing. But they stood still. This is very strong coming in from Oblation Esports. They have a very solid front line in the Maokai as well. So even if Levi gets shredded, if he's able to do his job, slowing down people with Undertow, maybe forcing a flash or even killing a priority target like Skull or Lunar, then I think Levi has already done his job here. But look at that. That is, of course, going to be Karma on Alto, and Solace in the mid lane with that Swain. Very excited to see this. I mean, Solace, very proficient mid laner. We're going to have to see if this Swain is up to snuff as well. But against this Akali, against his comp with Warlocks, this is a lot of aggression coming from Warlocks, and they want to finish this game fast.
I'm not a big fan of this Akali pick for the Warlocks. Akali not really the best of mid laners right now in this current meta. And Swain recently got a big buff on his Vision of the Empire. And when I say big buff, it is a huge buff. It allows you to just go around the map, revealing areas like Sova again and again. It's just the range too big right now. If you stand sa gitna ng mapa, you'll practically have it global range, almost global range. And that's saying a lot about this Swain right now. So I'm really liking the Swain pick for the side of Oblation Esports. But for Warlocks, this is the first game na makakakita tayo ng Sona and Lux in the bottom lane. Let's see kung how it will fare out against Yobu and Alto's Karma Caitlyn combo.
Yeah, you know, a lot of shields and healing, but against this poke from the Karma and the Caitlyn, it's gonna be really, really tough here. But of course, you guys, we're always looking to see what your opinions are as we go into our usual chat rally here for the Predator Alliance League 2020 Summer. This is, of course, MWL win for the MCL Warlocks, or hashtag OBL win for the Oblation Esports team from University of Philippines Diliman. And of course, combine that with our hashtag Globe Prepaid Virtual Hangouts to get a chance to win those Garena shells to spend on skins or future League of Legends content.
Yeah. And right now we are waiting waiting on the spec delay. Habang nangyayari yon, punta muna tayo sa ating shamey prediction of the night. It is gonna be MCL versus UPD. Shamey will enter the ring of fate as he sniffs out the side of UPD. Will it be a commit though? And it will be a commit.
UPD.
Okay. Shamey has so far done as good. You know, at this point, like 91-92% prediction rate. I do agree with most of her predictions. And going into this game, Warlocks versus Oblation Esports, this is a turning point for the Malayan College's Laguna team and their standings for this Group A.
Yeah, and for Warlocks, they would want to secure this win. It's not a good place to have a 0-2 inside the group stages, but for Oblation Esports, securing this win means they put themselves in a better place, or maybe the best place in their group to get out of group and have their playoff berths already. So for Oblation Esports, they would like to take away this win against the Warlocks. And for both teams over here, I'm quite sure that they will try their best to take a game against each other, especially to Oblation Esports undefeated. You don't want an undefeated team in your group.
Yeah, because that's just going to make gunning for the other slots so much tighter when there's a set top one in a group. And Oblation Esports, if they go 3-0, putting themselves in a solid position. As for the Warlocks, they already had their game against ADMU, which is one of the teams that I pegged as the top of this group. And if they can take down Oblation Esports, that might cement them as like in the lower half of this group. Because after this game, what else do they have? They have a game against FIT, which is also another strong established team, and a game against USA, who have not gotten any wins, but still looking to prove themselves. And that could be the push that USA needs.
Yeah, and Heron, you have to think about this, that Oblation Esports throughout the years, after their glory days with Neep as their captain and Iconic there inside the lineup, a lot of star players like V, they even won internationally and other stuff like that. They've come a long way. The dark, if we're looking at the 2-0 right now, I would say that the dark years, or maybe the rebuilding years of UPD, is almost coming to an end, as they're looking to be already a championship contender with this 2-0. So let's just see if they could pull this off right now. For Warlocks, they have been this team that has found themselves near the bottom stages of, the bottom of the ladder most of the time. But it's not a team that you would immediately discount. It's still a team that you need to respect, because sometimes they just strike you out of nowhere, and especially in the hands of Pandora. I just have to say that Pandora is a key player in the Warlocks lineup. That I still remember that time where he played Kale in EAA last year. It was one of his scarier moments in that split.
I think you can't count out Stellar as well. Mid lane is such an important lane to keep the tempo in the game. Lets you, if you take over mid lane, you basically have a lot of influence over top and bottom lane. And if Stellar can work well with Takeshima, then that is going to be perfect for Warlocks here. As for Oblation Esports, they've grown a lot of talent. Alto and Solis, they've grown so much since for the past few splits, and I'm really seeing a lot of growth here. We see so many good, perfect plays coming in from Solis, and of course the influence of Alto is not to be trifled with. As we get into our second game of the day for Group A, this is going to be MCL, Malayan College Laguna Warlocks, facing off against UPD's Oblation Esports. Let's get right into it, guys. Make some noise in the chat and share the stream.
Yeah, share the stream to your friends and to your colleagues as well in the school, mga schoolmates mo, mga tropa mo. Alam ko, online classes lang, na-suspend pa nga, so it's a perfect time to watch some campus esports actions. Root for your school over here. Kung taga UPD ka, make sure to join our giveaway with the hashtag Globe Prepaid Virtual Hangouts, with the hashtag OBLWin as well. But for MCL, it's gonna be the same Globe hashtag and hashtag MWLWin. Make sure to join our giveaways. But for now, both teams having a defensive start.
Yeah, just looking out for the entrances of their jungle. Nothing too crazy going on. this is an important game for MCL, their second game for this group, and they don't want to muck it up by going for some overly flashy play. But Standard Stars, both junglers starting out on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and two mages here in the bottom lane of MCL. Not quite sure and how this will work out against a Caitlyn and a Karma, considering that Yobu is also running this cleanse, which means there's no CC chains that will happen. Look at this, Levi just power farming there in the blue side.
Yeah, that's why Olaf has been super popular lately, especially in 1.16 games on that Olaf. But look at this, double stealthy on Skull and Lunar. We'll see how that pays off when we look at the gold much later into the laning phase, but nothing too fancy happening just yet. Just need to keep an eye on the junglers and where they go.
Yeah, we have to keep an eye on this Olaf and this Trundle as well. Both junglers aren't quite keen on getting early ganks, but the 1v1 dueling potential, quite a treat to watch. So if we do see them find each other and near that topside scuttler, I'm quite sure that a fight will break out.
It is going to be, I mean, both of these definitely want to be farming up really fast, especially with Levi being very low, as is natural for an Olaf clear. Still has 2 charges of his pots, but Stellar here taking a beating here from Solace. Already this Swain building up a small wave advantage over Stellar here, and that's definitely UPD in a quite comfortable position. Let's see if they can pivot that into an advantage here with Levi and topside.
Yeah, and topside looks to be the focal point of this game for now, as the Trundle's already trying to invade the red side of the jungle. Does spot out the Olaf with the plant though, so that's great for the side of MCL. More safety for their Riven.
Yeah, that's really what you want. If this Riven dies once against the Maokai, it's over. That is just going to make it tough for MCL to establish an advantage if this Riven gets stopped in terms of momentum in this top side. So they need to keep the pressure. Pandora needs to stay consistently ahead of this Maokai for this Riven pick to work out.
And for this Riven pick to work out, he does need a little bit of gold. But in the bottom lane, Iron looks like...
Oh, just a few love taps here and there. Just a standard poken from Yobu and Alto and Skull and Lunar. This is the weakness of that lane. Look at that. They're just taking the beating here from Yobu and Alto.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that. The early game of Asona Lux, not that great. But I do believe that mid-game, late-game, it does pay off. But in the mid lane, look at this, the damage. Wala man lang trade. This is the weakness of an Akali. Range advantage. And his only form of sustain will be in the form of that fleet footwork. Really, really
tough for this Akali. And Solace, if we see him getting this consistent lead over Stellar, because Swain doesn't really need like a big burst of gold. All he really needs to do is establish a small tactical advantage in these fights and go from there. And that seems to be what's happening for Solace here.
Yeah, and a big stack of minions in the top lane for Riven to farm over. And looks like Pandora will be securing a little bit of CS lead against Crandall over here. But, you know, CS lead doesn't really matter that much for the Maokai. For the Maokai, what matters the most is he is still building those tanky items. But for Riven, he has to make sure that he secures the gold he needs to go get that early damage and cooldown reduction. But look at this, the Dragon already trying to sneak it out, this Olaf.
Yeah, and Skull and Lunar, they are pushing Yobu and Alto in, but I don't think they're in a position to try and interfere with that, even if they had Takeshima around, because Solace is just going to interfere with that. Almost level 6 as well, but this is going to be Mountain Drake clean in the hands of UPD, and Levi showing his muscles.
Yeah, and also a flash burn on Skull, considering that he was really out of position and the Karma had a point-and-click snare. It didn't have enough time to walk away from that snare, especially with the movement speed bonus coming in from the shield as well. So great play coming in from Alto, and that's a flash burn for Skull.
This is why this Karma is super scary in the hands of Jimmy, this Alto. So, it's quite very solid so far from UPD. As for Crindle, building up that Bramble Vest, he did think of going Bami Cinder instead, but let's see how this pays off for him.
Yeah, Bami Cinder... Actually, he doesn't go for Bami Cinder. He will be going towards Bramble Vest. So
Yeah,
Bramble
earlier he
Vest.
bought Mami Cinder and then sold it, but here Takeshima could be in trouble.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the ultimate from Riven though. Block,
Right,
it's Stellar.
The Nature's Grasp. Wrong direction though means that this Akali can get first blood onto UPD, but Solace is gonna pull him right back into turret range. A 1-for-1 for UPD and MCL.
Yeah, 1-for-1 for UPD and MCL, and the summoner spells for Stellar already burned up, but that he does get rewarded with first blood. Levi as well burning out that flash, but this is gonna be hard for him to farm it out against Solace, especially once Solace scales up with that Rod of the Ages, and medyo nasa catalyst pa lang naman tayo.
Yeah, so but if Solace is already doing that much, but it's going to be a gank onto this bot side going for the 3v2. Can they lock them down? Slow onto Skull. Snare is going to come through. Yobu's damage is going to miss that. Miss that Q coming in from that Caitlyn, but is able to finish it off. And now Lunar in a little bit of trouble. 4 people. Yeah.
Crandall, play of the game. Sinapak niya eh. Hindi tuloy tumama yung Piltover Peacemaker, But okay, it does give Pandora space to push a little bit, and in the bottom lane, Levi is already prepping for this dive as well. I do think that Lunar has to back off, but it will be too late as the snare doesn't land. Hiron!
They are just going to tear down this Lux. Unstoppable cannot be slowed. Can there be a shield here? No. And that is going to be another 1-for-1, and a few plates for UPD. A lot of trades going on, but these 2 plates might make that sacrifice worth it.
Yeah, and for Olaf over there, I think a little bit too aggressive, or maybe a failure to juggle for the side of UPD as well. I think that's one thing that Coach Red could discipline their players to do. Could have been a 1-for-0 if they juggled the turret aggro.
But that still, getting that those plates bot lane means that Yobu very comfortably picks up a BF sword and pickaxe. That's going to pivot really well as he builds into those crit items. And looking at it so far, UPD, a few sloppy trades here and there, but still definitely a small lead that could balloon at any moment, especially with Levi's presence all around the map.
Yeah, and Levi right now, 1-2, not exactly the best score that you would want to see on an Olaf, but the pressure is real, and for Trundle, I think he is trying to secure bit more objectives, but will fail in doing so, as the Rift Herald will be going to the hands of Olaf. Takeshima a little bit on the backside of this game, but the game's still early, the gold lead's still non-existent, and MCL could still pick up a bit of a lead.
And I think right now Alto roaming around the map as is usual for him, and I think he's more comfortable leaving Yobu around because it's not like Skull and Lunar can kill Yobu as long as he dodges the skill shots, right? And they are gonna give up a couple plates here and there, but
what?
Very what? Could be a kill here for Yobu.
Oh man, massive misplay coming in from Skull. Skull not having a great game right now. I just have to say that after burning his flash early out of pure mispositioning, he also gets ganked, gets killed, and now he almost dies to a trap. Kung hindi pa siya nakatapak ng isang trap, hindi pa siya magigising, hindi pa siya sa sidestep eh.
Very tough there for MCL so far. But UPD, this is going to be the Drake spawning soon. This is the Cloud Drake. Could be very important here for MCL. They have the Riven as well most especially the Crescendo coming in from Skull, but UPD seems like they want to have initiative on that objective.
Yeah, and objective-wise, UPD does have a small lead. They did get the dragon earlier, and they do have the better position right now, especially with those vision wards placed already. UPD looking to secure this next dragon, but looks like Yobu is in trouble. The teleport will go down. Hiron.
That is going to be the cleanse burned. He is going to survive just for a little bit. Can Pandora chase him down with a broken wings? That laser is going to come through. Not enough to kill Yobu. Pandora can go for the wind slash. Not enough. And they're coming into pursuit into this jungle. But from behind, from downtown, Solace taking 2-on-1 here, dealing a lot of damage. And the first is going to go for Lunar. Gets the kill indeed. Can he make some space for his team? So much healing is not enough to make him survive, but he gives them enough space for them to back off. But MCL now on the initiative for this Cloud Drake.
Man, throwback 2015 when Wind Slash was still fast as the wind. Right now, the nerfs is indeed pushing down this Riven a little bit too much. Kung kasing bilis ng dating Wind Slash yun, that could have given him an instant double kill. But sadly for Pandora, it is the nerfed version of the Wind Slash. But still, great play coming in from MCL, securing the Cloud Drake, securing a little bit of kills. And for UPD, looks like they just threw away their early lead just a little bit. Still a 1k gold lead.
1-for-1 for the Drake, but that did give a lot of room for Kleindl to catch up in CS as well as tear down like 3? Were those 3 plates? Yeah. And still, that's not a bad trade, but that Cloud Drake is definitely going to be felt much more later in the game. And yeah, that MCL, if they can keep going for those fights where UPD gets caught off guard, they could potentially take this game away, since this is a very volatile composition that they've thought up.
Yeah, and for Pandora over here, farming will be the game, trying to get his early survivability items with this Black Cleaver and also shredding items. He is facing a fairly tanky Maokai in the top lane with the Bramble Vest pickup as well. A great pickup coming in from Kleindl, making sure that this Riven won't deal a lot of damage and heal a lot of HP as well.
Yeah, correct decision there. Earlier, I said that he thought of getting the Bomby Cinder, but he undid that purchase and went for Bramble Vest. And it's been working out very well for him. Pandora not able to get a solid lead in this lane. He did get a kill off lane, but it's not quite enough for him to completely overpower this Maokai. UPD, they got the Rift Herald earlier. That does give them first turn of the game. And this is going to open up this spot side of the map a little bit in their favor.
Yeah, and for the side of MCL, I do think that this Lux Sona combo, they need a fat solo laner or maybe a farmed one. So yeah, it's imperative that this Akali and Riven, they survive this lane.
Yeah, they do have a very solid start here. 1 kill, not ideal, but if MCL can catch off UPD more often off guard, then this is going to be solid coming into the mid game. Alto here could find Takeshima in the dot brush in the top river. Can he get away? That pillar is going to stop him in his tracks. Subjugate to try and chase him down. Chomping with a flash. But that is going to be Final Spark from Lunar, taking it away for a kill for MCL.
And from downtown, Lunar sniping away the life of Alto, and maybe that's a message for Alto. Alto regarded as one of the best supports right now in Alliance League. Lunar is sending a message from downtown without laser.
I'm the captain now, says Lunar. This doesn't give MCL a lot of space, but it does give them the kill here. And Lunar on this Lux looking a bit scary. 2-2-1.
Yeah, 2-2-1 on this Lux, already getting a lot of those cooldown reduction up. This looks to be a Lux that's actually working for MCL right now, providing a lot of utility and a little bit of oomph on the damage.
Wait for that snare against Lunar. Can he get the snare out? No, but this is applying pressure onto MCL, letting them know, you got a kill on us, sure, but we're gonna steer the game from this point on, with UPD going very deep for that vision.
Yeah, and gold-wise, it's not even that big of a contest right now. Still just the 2k gold lead for the side of UPD. And for MCL, a lot of chances to go back in this game and actually take the lead for themselves. But Takeshima looks to be zoned out of his own jungle, the pillar, just to assert his dominance.
Yeah, Herald will be the next pickup here for both of these teams. This is crucial, and rightfully so. MCL trying to go for interference here. UPD has to be very careful not to get caught with these broken wings. Or attention could be cut with a knife right now. That is going to be MCL now with the initiative onto this Rift Herald. UPD, they still want this. That objective might reset if neither of these teams are careful. 2.7k on that Herald. The smites are going to come through, not going to come through, but Solace gets a kill onto Skull here, and a huge fight breaks out in the river. Takeshima trying to recover some HP with Smite here, but Levi is going to get the kill onto him as Yobu shoots him down, and that's going to be the Rift Herald being taken here by UPD, as 2 kills as well go to their side.
Yeah, I do have to credit Solace over there, trying to zone out a lot of people and dealing damage as well. The power of the Swain is shown over there, and Stellar burning that early smoke because of an early trade with the Swain just gave MCL no fighting chance in that fight. This Akali pick cannot enter a fight without the smoke at this point in the game. So for Stellar over there, I think it's not about the player, it's about the champion limiting what you could do, not having enough tools in a fight, and that also okay.
That almost looked like a steal from Final Spark there from Lunar, but UPD finishing it off. Actually, it was Yobu that finished off that Drake, so that was kind of Monka-esque for UPD.
Man, if the laser stole that Infernal Drake away from UPD, that could have been another hot topic, a hot debate, if ever this jungler will get the boot out of the coach. I would say the boot, it's not getting kicked out of the team, it's just their coach being really strict about these kinds of plays. But the dragon is secured by Yobu instead, and looks like UPD will be securing a good amount of lead in the mid game.
And at this point, even if it is technically a small lead of 3k, this is fine. This is a comfortable position for Oblation Esports. Their composition isn't really something that needs to be so ahead that they have to snowball. Meanwhile, MCL's comp is exactly that. If this Akali and Ribbon plateau in power now, and they don't get any more kills in the next few minutes, it's going to be so easy for Solace to tear apart these fights once they start breaking out, because if Pandora and Stellar can't take down the Solace because he keeps recovering HP, dealing a lot of damage, then it's going to be tough for them to finish off the rest of UPD.
Yeah, and finishing off the rest of UPD will be in the hands of Pandora over here on this Riven. Already 1-0-0, and I love the Executioner's calling pick up on this Riven, respecting the healing coming in from the Swain ult, the Conquerors, and even Maokai with his passive. So I just have to say that Pandora is in a position to try and carry MCL inside a fight. And Stellar as well, already about to finish Liandry's Torment. So for the side of MCL, what they have to do is to try to find Yobu early and try to end the fight by getting the Olaf in a Caitlyn. Because for the Swain, it's quite impossible to kill that Swain in a couple of seconds.
And yeah, this Execution calling definitely a good pickup here, but that's also the opportunity cost. Like, that's 800 gold delaying your lethality item. That is going to be a point of contention here for this Riven. Let's see if it pays off. Let's see if Solace is hampered a lot by the half healing from Executioner's calling, but here, getting the Rift Herald out means his mid lane is open up for UPD. This gives them a lot more freedom to really get some vision down on this MCL jungle, steal away the resources, maybe set up for Baron that's going to be coming in the next few minutes.
Yeah, map pressure is the game for UPD right now. Taking turret after turret, 3-0 ang turret score natin ngayon. And for UPD, they are making sure that they assert their dominance around the jungle area by actually taking down turrets and not just by showing up and trying to find a fight. But in the top lane, Pandora will be picking a fight against the Maokai, as the Akali will be going back on Solace, and this looks to be
okay,
perfect execution.
Flash away. Okay, flash away with no way to pursue Solace through that break. That means that UPD gets away from this Coffrey. No flash for Solace, which is going to be very important if a fight breaks out in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I just have to say, with the Cloud Drake, mababa din yung CD ng Perfect Execution. It was already adjusted to a point that Perfect Execution has a really low cooldown, and considering that they did get that Cloud Drake as well, that means most likely for the next objective fight, Stellar will have Perfect Execution, and for Solace, that flash, it still won't be up.
That's going to be tough here, but Solace, especially if his healing is cut down by the Executioner's calling, has to be way more careful. He doesn't have as much impunity in these team fights as if MCL did not have Executioner's calling here, but still, UPD still in driver's seat, 4k gold lead. They have vision around, they're trying to establish vision around the map, and they have more turrets down for MCL.
Yeah, and Dragon will be spawning a minute from now, or maybe a couple of seconds from now, and this will be the next arena for the fight, and that's gonna be the Ragnarok burn early, a flash as well.
Olaf coming away here, has to get away. Ragnarok will be burned. Solace, can he make something happen here? Also poking it out against Pandora. No kill for MCL, but UPD, very, very dangerous situation.
Yeah, and looks like they want to take this mid lane turret so far, and this is the weakness of Lux Zona combo. Actually, the weakness of having no AD carries. It's so hard to push, man. You don't have ranged damage dealers that could easily take down turrets like Caitlyn, so it's gonna be a hard time for Stellar.
No, he's not gonna get pulled back, able to get away with a nice kunai toss. But still, UPD looking to get the initiative onto this Infernal Drake. Can MCL disrupt them? This is gonna be a very squishy Drake. Either of these teams pull the trigger, it's going to be quite tough. Pillar is going to lock Solace and Crindle away, but not able to get any CC onto them. Drake is going to reset at this point at MCL. They're looking to make space for themselves as Takeshima trying to beat down that Drake. Lots of AoE onto UPD, but they're going to pull the trigger here. Stella trying to go for the backline. Good final spark, lots of damage. Shuts down Yobu, and Alto falls as well. Crindle and Solace, they're trying their best here. Can Solace get the 1v5? Star kill here, buying a little bit of time with it. Stopwatch. Can he get the kill on Skull at least? No! It is going to be a clean ace from MCL, putting the momentum back in their favor.
Oh wow, MCL with a an excellent team fight in that Dragon Pit. Not only will they reward themselves with 5 kills to none, they will get the Infernal Drake as well. And I just have to say, Stellar and Lunar went huge in that fight. Great snare coming in from Lunar to start off the fight, immediately locking in the squishiest members of UPD. And then Stellar going back to the backline, actually going to the backline immediately with perfect execution, secured kill after kill. Stellar getting rewarded with a triple kill. I think this is gonna be the Liandry's Torment and an upgraded boots as well. This is huge for MCL. The goal lead is cut to just 2k.
That's huge indeed for MCL, and I love, and not to make the pun, but that was indeed perfect execution, disrupting that Infernal Drake against UPD. And yeah, Solace is strong right now, 3-2-1, but it's not enough for him to start 1v5ing in these fights. If Yobu gets taken out early, then that's the signal for MCL to finish off these fights. But in the next few team fights, if Yobu is able to position well, if he has his flash up, that's a few minutes away still, then it's going to be hard for MCL to actually finish off these fights because they don't have their own marksman.
Yeah, and I just have to say that Stellar, even after a very tough mid lane, already having the CS lead against the Swain, and with already 2 built items over here, it's gonna be huge for MCL. This Akali looking to be a great pick, even if the laning was hard, and for Pandora as well. Looks like the win condition for MCL has already been met. The solo laners to be able to carry the fight, and now that Skull has this Archangel Scepter, or Archangel's, tama ba?
Yeah, Archangel Staff.
Seraph's Embrace. Seraph's Embrace, yung upgraded. Seraph's Embrace. It's gonna be huge for MCL because their late game potential right now looks to be a very different beast from what UPD was beating down early game.
Oh man. Earlier it felt like such a solid UPD game, Solace doing well. Just being that consistent damage source in the front lines. But now that MCL, their core carries here, the 2-0-4 Riven and a 4-1-2 Akali, that instantly puts the momentum in their favor and puts a lot of pressure on Yobu, since that means this Caitlyn can't just chill in the back, because he's always going to get pursued by this Akali. And this Riven is going to start dealing a lot of damage, has the Yomus, has the Black Cleaver. This is just going to ramp up in a very fast team fight.
Yeah, and Swain right now about to complete his Zhonya's Hourglass. This is a key item for any Swain to have. It allows you to buy so much time, not only for yourself, but for the entirety of your team, to be honest, because it allows you to deal damage over time while you heal up, invulnerable inside the team fight. And I feel like the proper call for UPD right now is to wait out that Zhonya's Hourglass on Solace, then try to fight. Try to find something that could go towards their favor.
Yeah, that's really the game plan, you know, because MCL's main damage dealers, who are they? They're Stellar and Pandora in the front lines. If Solace gets a very solid demonic transformation with those stuck stuck in there because of like what Nature's Grass, snares coming in from Alto, slows coming in from Levi. And then that's a lot of free space for this, not only the Swain to do this damage with his ulti, but with Yobu as well on the backside. But I can see it going very badly here if UPD is not careful.
Yeah, for UPD, they have to stay careful indeed. They did have the earlier lead, and actually still has the gold lead right now. But one more team fight, another clean ace coming in from MCL, or even just a team fight win, this might turn this game around them. Actually, maiikutan sila ng MCL. It's gonna be a late game advantage in the side of MCL, and they're even running Sona Lux combo in the bottom lane, which means yung very terrible early game, it's a thing of the past.
Having a lot of added healing, defense, CC. What a damage coming in from Stellar. This could mean a death. Forstall is gonna go for the transformation, buy himself some time, but Stellar still goes for the assassination. Another solo kill coming for Stellar.
Yeah, and this is the power of an Akali with a Liandry's Torment, and I think his next pickup will be a Morellonomicon as well. It's gonna be a hard time for Stellar. Actually, no, for the side of UPD to deal with this Akali once he does get his early items, but I do think that he will go to Zhonya's instead. A lot of vague items on his inventory right now, but it still spells out a very good game for him, and I think it will be a lot of survivability items after picking up 2 items that deal a lot of damage.
So Stellar looking to position himself as the core of this MCL team, and with this next Drake coming up, this is going to be the turning point. This is going to decide, will UPD have a harder time in this game? Because if MCL just takes this away, this is momentum fully on their side, and momentum is the name of the game for this comp.
Yeah, and for MCL, if they win this fight right now, as you said, the momentum will finally shift towards their favor, and this might mean that their late game nightmare for UPD will begin. UPD in a position to contest this. They're already grouped up. Hiron, the land.
Guys, go for the ulti from that Maokai. UPD pulls the trigger, but that is going to be an almost dead Olaf there with Stellar. He's rooted. Can he still do the damage, though? Pandora is going to take out that Olaf, and now UPD on the run. Yobo is going to get the shutdown. Choke point goes for a good final spark. Sol is going to deal a lot of damage here, but he himself is low. Goes for the zombies to buy himself some time. Krindle and Alto going to keep this Solace alive, and MCL. It looks so good for them, but UPD resilient enough to resist the charge.
Man, they just bit off more than they could chew in that fight. They already got the dragon, but they still wanted that fight. And dahil nga medyo nag-burn sila ng resources sa dragon, I don't think they had enough stuff to try and deal with UPD, and that did give UPD enough of a fight, and that's the
And they go for an immediate dive onto this Lux. Super squishy. The confidence from UPD after that Drake fight means that they get another kill in their pockets. Lots of pings coming around top side of the map. Maybe not Baron itself, but that's going to be TP from MCL to try and cut off the escape here. Stall is healing a little bit of HP using his ulti. Goes for Crescendo into the Blade of the Exile, but Pandora is gonna get cut down. The Blade of the Exile not enough. Stellar in the back line, very low, taking turret shots, double kill, but gets cut down himself. Skull is the next target, very squishy Sona. Thomas is gonna pull it back, never move, is gonna take him down, and UPD, when this back and forth game, takes back control with Yobu alive and healthy. Solace half health, but he can get himself healthy as well. This might be the Baron.
Man, and this is the power of having decisiveness in your shot calling. That was a risky call, but it was a smart risk taken by Alto. Shielding up the whole squad, taking that first kill that led to another play, and with Pandora just going for the spicy play!
Oh, the stopwatch is going to save him from Final Spark. Lunar is going to go down with Levi with the reaction time. He doesn't have Smite. He uses Smite to stay alive. Redemption to heal him up. Takeshima, if he gets away here, this could be his chance to steal the Baron, but he's getting zoned away by UPD, and this, I think, is going to be secured here for the Oblation Esports team. Very tough shot call there, but it pays off in strides.
Man, both teams looking to have great plays on each side. I just have to say that it's really great to see both teams having great shot calling. Yung hindi sila gumagawa ng error on their side. They're trying to force out errors from the other team, and sometimes it does give birth to their own errors, but then again, it's just both teams being the aggressor, both teams trying to find the lead for their teams. No team in this game being passive, waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
They want to make things happen, and that's a big difference in campus esports.
It's the collegiate League of Legends I've been looking for, where both teams are vying for dominance. Both of them always proactive, never letting themselves be on the back foot. UPD now, they have a solid lead. They can go for these turrets, open up the map even more. The thing with MCL is they haven't pushed because of their comp. If UPD snowballs this lead by just tearing down these structures, MCL is going to have a rough time going into the next few minutes.
They do have that option. They have the Caitlyn. This is the power of having a traditional marksman in your composition. It allows you to do traditional things like trying to push early. And for MCL, this is the price that they have to pay. They have unlimited sustain. They have almost unlimited healing around fights. But can they push though? The game is still pushing.
That's the thing. They can't counter push against UPD. Their wave clear with Baron minions is pretty terrible, and this inhibitor is gonna go down without any contest. MCL has to concede this to UPD, and they could pull the trigger here onto Levi, but once again, now that UPD is the ones pushing MCL into their base, this is being very difficult for this Riven, this Akali to get an opportunity in.
Yeah, and it's getting more difficult for MCL as the game progresses, but I just have to say that they need to take this next dragon. If they get the Infernal Break, this might turn things around for them, mainly because their objective is to try and win team fights, then translate it into turrets. They can't actually just go for the siege like what UPD has been doing around this game. They don't have a marksman, so they have to win team fights, then push. Having that Infernal Soul on their side will be a massive buff for them to win said team fights, and looks like they're already positioning to find a fight as Takeshima is in front of 4 people.
Get into that choke point. This is prime estate for Solus if he wants to go in. Takeshima taking a lot of damage here. MCL getting themselves out of the choke point, but getting choked by the traps as well. Solus activates his transformation. Stellar gonna try and assassinate him, but he's healing a lot of damage. Final Spark only takes Alto, but Pandora is gonna go down to Solus. Stellar gonna try and assassinate, buy some time with his Zhonya's, but the rest of his team's getting shredded by UPD, and Stellar, Yobu takes down Stellar as well, and now the rest of Malayan Warlocks on the run here. Skull gonna try and divert UPD away from their team, but Krindle leading the charge here as Lunar is gonna try and run away, but fails. Instant teleport from UPD to try and end. This is huge from UPD.
Yeah, this is massive for UPD. They're already opting to end the game as the Swain immediately teleports. This is 30 seconds without champions for MCL, and this looks to be UPD's third win. Oh man, UPD with the decisive calls and great team fights. This gives them the win for tonight.
And that puts them at a very, very comfortable 3-0. Oblation Esports showing themselves to have grown a lot in the years that have passed, and this roster looking very, very strong in our Predator Alliance League 2020 summer. Man, that was clean. I mean, very messy in the first, but they cleaned it up later.
Yeah, the moment the Swain got his items, the moment Solus secured a lot of his core items such as the Zhonya's and the Leandri's Torment, or maybe, actually the Leandri's Torment, it gave them enough of a frontline that actually deals damage. Wala namang problema sa MCL eh. Ang ganda ng mga pasok nila. Stellar always found himself in the backline trying to assassinate Yobu, but then again, if your teammates can't respond, if they can't go through the wall of the Swain that is Solus, it's really gonna be a hard time, not even close to responding to Akali and Pandora. And what's the point of having a Sona trying to buff up the whole team if y'all divided because of the ulti of the Swain?
Yeah, it's really, really tough. Like, that Swain just makes it so being grouped up like that is counterintuitive for Warlocks. But you also have to credit Krindle and Alto. Like, keeping Yobu alive was also a big part of why they were able to finish off those games. Yes, Solus was dealing the damage, but and dealing a lot of damage. But Solace was also picking them up, and later he only died once ever. Yeah, right.
Yeah. One
And
solo kill lang.
yeah,
One
yeah.
solo kill.
And after that, he cleaned up his game. Very, very solid positioning. Able to be kept alive by the Karma and the Maokai. Very solid all around.
But even if they did improve a lot, it's still funny for me because
Yeah.
Solis, through his early years in collegiate, always found himself in a spot that he would get solo killed by his matchup, but would still win the game. And I just have to say that now, the Solis now really improved in the aspect of trying to avoid those 1v1 fights and just trying to win the team fights instead. And UPD looking quite healthy in Group A, 3-0 already, and this looks to be a great group stage for them as they already secure a playoff berth.
So that Warlocks, though, they need to polish up their next games. Not today, but in other days of the group stage. They're going to be against FIT and USA. So that's going to be really tough for them to get back from, but they need to polish up their game. We have been your shoutcasters for this second game that we have for today for Predator Alliance League. I'm Hiron, with me, Womi. We're going to be seeing you with the next game we have for today after a short